We are live. Welcome, 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 everyone, to the SoulSearch, the Portal to Ascension, the Joan of Angels tribe. We are so excited this morning to bring you another one of our amazing Ascension of the Soul practitioners, leaders, guides, mentors, and those who are paving the way for the rest of us. So we're so excited that you are here with us. And I am your host, Joan of Angels. I'm an intuitive guide and also director of productions at Portal to Ascension. So I'm here on both of those hats with my dear friend Tanjila of SoulSearch. Welcome, Tanjila.
Thanks, Joan, and hello, everyone. Great to be here. And I'm so excited for our special guest today, Suzanne Ross, who will be joining us to chat about something that she is an expert in and about ascension.
I love that. I love that. So let's just start by everyone, I think, taking a deep breath in so we can all just feel that very, very special energy together and letting it all out. And then taking another deep breath in together and letting it all out and asking the guides, the angels, our soul teams, our spirit family to be with us today as we really step into another aspect of ascension and connect with others around the world. And we're really grateful for all of you who are with us. Let us know where you're from. And so we can see where you're from. We can kind of get those angels and angelic frequencies traveling around the world with everyone. So thank you so much. So Tanjila, tell us about our guest. Tell us about Suzanne Ross a bit.
Also, Suzanne Ross has dedicated her life to the awakening ascension of humanity through her books, services, TV network, radio shows, and the many events that she hosts. She is the author of the Up trilogy, Wake Up, Rise Up, and Lighten Up. She is the executive producer of the SciSpy.tv, host of the annual Sedona Ascension event, and a speaker at events nationwide. She also guides celebrity tours and spiritual journeys into the Red Rock Vortex sites of Sedona, where she lives, as well as offers intuitive readings and energy healing work. Suzanne has appeared on many TV and radio shows, including Gaia TV and Coast to Coast AM. And she is very much committed to the ascension and the awakening of humanity during this time. And she's so passionate about bringing forth her gifts and sharing them with the world, and also bringing together ascension experts, leaders, teachers, and guides, through her conference and through all of the different events that she creates and bringing that forth. So, so excited to have her here. She's joining us from Sedona, where she lives, and also guides people on land journeys. If you have the honor and privilege of getting to Sedona, definitely that would be an experience to try to take advantage of. So hi, Suzanne, welcome.
Hi, it's so great to be here. To everyone who's tuned in, bless you and thank you for joining us. Yes, I am here in the powerful vortex of the Red Rock Paradise, Sedona, and thank you for mentioning that. One of the things that I love to do is take people on spiritual journeys into these sacred vortex sites here. And I arrange personal retreats, 2 to 4 days, where we have a combination of outdoor journeys and indoor healing sessions and readings. So yeah, it's just wonderful to be here in this powerful place and to be able to serve here in this crystal temple city.
I love what you do, and you're in the most magical of places to do it. So, one of the questions we've been asking all of our guests is like, how did you become you? Did you know you were going to do this sacred work? Like, what was your introduction here to this work you're doing?
In 1995, I was living on the East Coast and working in the corporate world. I was very misaligned with my true calling and also felt displaced on the East Coast, being a California girl. And one morning, I just walked out into the kitchen and said, there's got to be more meaning and purpose to life than this. Waking up and fighting brutal traffic and going to work and fighting brutal politics and fighting traffic, coming home, eating, getting up and doing it over and over and over again, like a gopher on a wheel that's going nowhere. And so I was called to go visit my parents in the desert of Southern California. And on one morning, I just woke up with this impending sense of doom and felt inspired to run out the front door and run toward this mountain range behind their home. And it was sunrise. And as I was running, I had this sense that I could just run away from my fate. And I had tears streaming down my eyes. And I ran up the side of this mountain, threw my arms up to the sky, and just said, I am miserable in the extreme and I see no way out. And in that moment, I felt this total sense of calm wash over me and this bright white light all around me. And this voice came out of the light and it said, can't you see you've come home? You'll stay here and heal yourself and many others. And in that moment, I knew that was the absolute truth for me. I looked out over this desert landscape and knew I had come home and I would become a healer in the desert. And I ran down that mountain. For the next 2 weeks, I just felt like I was following the guidance of spirit as I was guided to go here, to go there, to do this, to do that. I went to the nearest 5-star resort that morning, applied for a job in health and wellness. They hired me on the spot, said, can you start in 2 weeks? I said, yes. I had to go home and leave my husband and my life and my job on the East Coast, which I did. And I started my new life in the desert in 2 weeks and ultimately opened a wellness center, which just kept getting bigger and bigger. And I just never looked back. And still today am in that field of wellness for the body, mind, and spirit, even though it's morphed in different ways over the years.
Wow, that's such a powerful story, Suzanne.
Can we break that down for a minute, Suzanne? Because I feel like so many of the people we've been talking to, there's that one moment where you release and this miracle happens of, you know, sort of being shown the way. What can you talk a little bit about that for yourself? Because I have a suspicion that's what you then teach for everyone else.
Thank you for that. I actually had a hypnotic regression with Lori McDonald, who we all know is a well-known hypnotic regressionist and also the president of Opus, and she's a good friend of mine. And in this hypnotic regression, I wanted to know what happened on that mountaintop over 25 years ago. And I thought maybe it was something galactic. And what came through in the regression was that two beings had surfaced from the inner earth, and between them was a woman who looked just like me. And they asked permission for this woman to walk into me. And I said, yes. And she walked into me, turned around and looked out. And that made so much sense to me. Number one, I was born in Mount Shasta, and I've always felt very connected to the inner earth Telosians there. And so these beings coming from the inner earth made a lot of sense to me, also feeling like an ancient Lemurian. And so this was sort of a walk-in of my higher self, which also made sense because the woman who ran up that mountain that day had all kinds of mental, physical, emotional issues, anxiety attacks, eczema all over my skin. And I was spontaneously healed in a moment as this higher vibrational version of myself walked in. Also in a moment, I was aligned with my true calling. And so that made a lot of sense to me.
Wow. Wow. Joan, you're muted there.
There we go. All right. You are a true walk-in soul then. And, you know, you had a true walk-in experience. It's a starseed, extraterrestrial kind of experience where you actually shifted, or an angelic walk-in. I'm an angelic walk-in. But it seems to me also that there, I don't know, that's so exciting. And I feel like when you must be taking people up on the mountain and then people having that experience when they come to Sedona to be with you. It sort of seems to me that you're just a trigger. Is that true?
Thank you for that. Yes, what I specialize in here in the vortex of Sedona is tuning people in to that high vibrational spinning vortex, because it's like a portal to a higher dimension. And within that portal, it's very conducive to have a Kundalini awakening experience, to have Shaktipat, right? And so that's the main practice that I lead here, is tuning people into the vortex to raise their vibration, create a portal around them, and then offer them a Kundalini awakening experience.
Amazing. Amazing.
Wow. So that's a reason. Definitely a reason to come to Sedona.
Definitely. And so, Suzanne, would you say when you had that experience, this profound awakening, how did you completely disconnect from your old life? Like, how did that happen for you? You say you talk about it so simply, and for people watching, I mean, how did that really work for you?
Well, I had already taken a long leave from work, and I had already been told at work, if you take a leave, don't expect to come back. And I needed the break, and I said, I'm leaving. I need a break. And so it was easy to disconnect from that. My husband at the time was international traveler. He worked as a vice president for the same corporation I did and was traveling around the world. And so he was never home, and we had grown apart, and he understood. And so it actually was pretty basic. He knew this was coming. It was one of those, I'm coming home and we need to talk. And I literally went home, packed up my things. We facilitated a quick divorce. He was cool with it. We stayed good friends. And I started my new life. And it was one of those things. You guys understand this. When you're aligned, everything falls into place easily, smoothly, perfectly, like walking into this 5-star resort and being hired on the spot with only really a corporate business background.
I was thinking of that.
Like inexplicable things happen. And the people on the other side, like the person who hired me, probably doesn't even know why she's so inspired just to say yes.
Exactly. And so you went in and you were just able to get this, job as a healer at this wellness facility. And now, years forward, you are now a leading ascension expert, hosting and holding your own huge ascension events. What has that journey looked like for you? And what does ascension mean to you, Suzanne? Because you yourself are so committed to this.
Aw, thank you, sweet dear. Yes, so, it's taken on many different expressions over the years, like all of us. We're on an evolutionary journey. We're on a spiritual journey. And so for me, it's really been dedication to the path. After this awakening experience on the mountaintop, and I had no background in any kind of spirituality. My father was an atheist scientist. My mother had dabbled a little bit in TM earlier in her life, and but we never went to church, so, which was kind of nice because I had a blank slate, right? And then after this happened, I started diving into Wayne Dyer, who I just love dearly, bless his sweet soul, and the others at Hay House. I kind of call it my Hay House awakening. Right? Louise Hay and Marianne Williamson and all the authors at Hay House. And I just would take these long walks in nature and listen to these cassette tapes, because it's over 25 years ago, right?
Right.
And I would be so inspired by what they were teaching. And so then I started incorporating spirituality into the mind-body wellness that I was teaching. And I started teaching yoga classes that included meditations. And then I had a dark night of the soul in 2007, when the markets just fell out. My main client was wealthy, retired, seasonal visitors to this desert of Southern California, and they just walked away from their second and third homes, and the town became a ghost town. And I went into a dark night of the soul. My husband moved to Northern California. I met the love of my life shortly after my awakening on the mountaintop, and I'm still married to him today. But my parents moved to Canada. It was this whole thing of abandonment and failure, and I spiraled into a dark night of the soul. But what I tell people is the dark night is a great gift because it's an opportunity to go into contraction, to challenge the shadows, to face the shadows, and then to see the light at the end of the tunnel and to walk into that light. And the light on the other side is usually bigger and brighter than ever. And I was inspired to step on a Buddhist path. My sister was a Buddhist studying Buddhism and going to Buddhist retreats. And she took me to a Buddhist retreat. And that just enabled me to go so much deeper into deep trance meditations through mantras and mudras and tantra. And I also joined a spiritual center in my area that were studying the ancient Vedantic philosophies, and got a guru from the Himalayan Institute who gave me a personal mantra initiation. And I was just, really catapulted on my journey to go much deeper, much higher. And then I was inspired to start channeling and doing automatic writing. And that led to my books, the Up trilogy, Wake Up, Rise Up, and Lighten Up. So yeah, that's and then I was called to move to Sedona. I had a vision in meditation of Sedona. We were called to go to the Grand Canyon in 2014 and drive through Sedona. When I entered Sedona, I knew it was a crystal temple city. I knew I'd come home to ancient Atlantis. And within a few months, my husband got a job in Phoenix and we moved to Sedona, like unexpectedly. It all happened so fast. And then I've, been here for 8 years, and in this vortex just have gone in so many different directions. I started a conscious media network TV channel, SciSpy.tv, started hosting events right away, 2 events a year every equinox. This is my 15th event coming up in March. And then offered the spiritual journeys out on the land. I do a lot of sessions online for people all over the world on Zoom. So this is kind of where I'm at now, is this culmination of all of these different ways of serving.
Whoa. Okay. I love the way you describe your journey, Suzanne. It's very much like mine, but it's very much of a process of listening, like taking the time and going, oh my God, that's what I'm looking for, and seeing that they're giving you an arrow of where you're going. I just love this. I want to thank everyone who's with us, by the way, guys. I'm so excited to see Elizabeth, Watchers Talk, Just Waking Up, Ethereal Driftwood. Guys, I can tell that you're connecting with her as well. Yeah, so you have an upcoming event, and we all have an upcoming event, actually, Ascension of the Soul. And then you have an Ascension conference. So let's imagine, let's talk a little bit about what you're going to be talking about then at our upcoming Ascension conference to lead the way to your work. Does that make sense? Weird question, but you got it.
No, that's perfect. You said it perfectly. Yes, so the most recent focus for myself, and of course, as you both know, because you're both divinely guided too, is I tuned into a channel that wanted me to explore this idea that we're living in a simulation. I have and in my book, Rise Up, I talk quite a bit about this too, but from a different perspective of, at the beginning of creation, right, which began from this infinite sea of pure consciousness, this one great self flowing in to eternity, because this great self needed a place to start creating, needing a place that had a beginning and no ending, and created in this eternal realm, the first perfect universe settled in the eternal now moment, and all of these eternal souls upon it, a reflection of the one great self, expressing his 12 aspects, living in this existential reality, right? Being, but then these souls themselves having a desire to know thyself in a different way, collectively projected a mental construct called space-time. And within this space-time construct, multiple dimensions and timelines within these dimensions, so that they could project these holographic fractals of their personalities into these timelines and dimensions to know thyself through experience and doing and evolving and ascending, right? And so from that, this concept I call virtuality, the soul behind the simulation, because I'm very fascinated by quantum physics and have studied quantum physics a lot and incorporated in the work that I do. That's also the inspiration behind SciSpy.tv, SCISPI.tv, merging science and spirituality. And so this takes it to another level. So many people are talking about this idea that we live in a simulation, and some a computer simulation. And there is some truth to that. But we want to take it to a much higher level of this being a projection of our eternal souls who are sourced by the divine, right? And so we want to bring the divine into the simulation to say, this is God's virtual reality game. Right? And even if it is based on a projection of information or data, if you will, it's still sourced by the divine. And so I'm talking about not just the simulation, but the soul behind the simulation, and knowing that the divine is the source of it. And it's the divine experiencing through us as us to witness our experiences unfolding on a journey to know thyself.
Amazing. And Suzanne, we have a comment from Watchers Talk saying, we are living in the copy of prime reality. What do you think about that?
Spot on. Absolutely everything in space-time is simply a reflection and projection of the prime reality, the central universe at the core of creation, where everything is settled in its divine perfection, in its divine blueprint, right? And so our selves are a projection, reflection of our eternal soul as a holographic fractal of it, right? And our earth sphere is a projection, reflection of the prime reality at the core of creation, which is being projected as all of these earth spheres with them, which themselves are souls. Mother Earth is being a soul who evolved to express herself as an earth sphere, a collective consciousness, right? So yes, spot on.
And then Julie is asking, how is it an organic simulation? That's what makes us unique versus AI.
Exactly why I'm bringing the divine into it. We are souls sourced from the divine, an aspect of the divine source. And we are all of and from that same divine source, and therein lies the oneness. Yes, and so we are certainly organic, soul-inspired, heart-centered beings, and definitely brings us beyond a data-filled AI being.
And so how does, and we have watchers saying, you're talking my language, Suzanne. And it's true. This is incredible. It's really, this is a next level way of really speaking about who we are as human beings, Suzanne. And so how do you feel people can really benefit from knowing and understanding ourselves as being souls behind the simulation?
I guide people through practices to tune them in to their eternal soul, who is their source self behind the simulation, so that they can co-create their reality with their eternal soul, who is projecting them and the reality that's unfolding in front of them. And so I tune people into the multidimensional aspects of who they're being in many different timelines and dimensions, but also facilitate their ability to stream consciousness directly with their eternal soul aspect.
Joan, you're muted.
Got it. There's a lot of sounds going on. That's a lot to break down, Suzanne. You take souls and help them really understand this, like that we have another self, we have this self, you bring us all together in a way. I love that. In fact, I'm going to go back and listen to this because that sentence you had, I don't think you can repeat it, was so profound about how you help people understand the simulation, which is beyond our human comprehension. So when we talk about ascension, then we're talking about how do we merge this together as one, to know we're 5D people in our 3D bodies.
And that brings me back to the virtual reality game that our source self is playing with all of its avatars dispersed throughout these dimensions. And the goal behind any virtual reality game is to level up to the next level of the game. And so many of us right now are done playing level 3, and we're transitioning through the 4th astral realm to enter into level 5 of the game, and our source selves are rejoicing because we as avatars are leveling up.
All right. Okay. I love that. And it seems like our audience today really understands this as well, that, this divine part of us is part of the simulation, and we need to get conscious with it, I think. Here's a great question. Does just acknowledging that we're living in this simulation, is that enough? Or do we have to take it one more step? What is that step?
Yes, realizing the holographic nature of reality, and that it is a reflection, projection of a much greater reality, which is the true reality at the core of creation, right? And so connecting into that true reality and who we are as eternal souls sourced by the divine. So it's not just embracing our opportunity to be a holographic avatar in this 3rd dimensional space-time realm, right? And all of the joy and the beauty and the grace and enjoying ascending with others who are helping us to co-create the new earth, really embracing our experience right here and now, right? But knowing as holograms work, that each hologram still contains the whole. So we are our eternal soul expressing right here and now, and knowing that eternal soul is sourced by the infinite. So we're streaming divine consciousness from the divine source, as well as streaming consciousness with our eternal soul. And that's what inspires and empowers us, right? But not wanting to go somewhere else, embracing your life right here and now, just waking up every day, making that sincere effort to be the highest version of your best self on a journey of ascension, which is simply an expansion of consciousness. So it's not as if we're necessarily leaving the 3rd dimension, right? We're expanding our consciousness, which includes the 3rd dimension. All of the higher dimensions can easily observe, tune into, materialize in the lower dimensions, whereas the lower dimensions can't necessarily access the higher dimensions until they awaken and make an effort to ascend, right? So we can be 5D beings right here and now, embracing our lives in this 3rd dimensional plane, embracing all others within it as we serve to herald the ascension. And so I just love to inspire people to not be wanting to go somewhere else or to leave this reality, because we volunteered to come here to serve the 3rd dimensional consciousness, to guide people into the light of a higher way of living and being. So let's embrace that service.
This is such a great point of view. Okay, we have some other comments. This is a great...
We have so many comments coming, and everyone really loves what you're talking about, Suzanne.
So Julie's saying she's been calling her soul fractals, and her understanding that the veil is gone, no more quarantine, so we can actually reach our other dimensional selves. I think this is really powerful to understand. We can actually strengthen our higher consciousness self, our fifth dimensional, as you're calling it, avatar self, and then walk on the planet knowing we're really not from here, like knowing we're here as a kind of more conscious being. And I love having a wake-up call. I like to have a wake-up call every morning from you to remind me, like a little alarm. Joan of Angels, remember you come from the heavens and not from here. When you engage every day, it's like a wake-up call, a reminder.
Yes, we are missionaries, without a doubt, emissaries who have come here at this time from higher dimensional planes to serve the beautiful children of Earth and inspire and empower them to live their best life right here and now, right? To ascend into higher consciousness, always taking the high road, expressing the highest level of compassion, kindness, patience, understanding, empathy for all of our brothers and sisters on this earth plane, to totally detach from any judgment whatsoever of anyone on this earth plane. Everyone has come here to serve a role. Some have come here to lead people into the dissension devolution of the old earth, because we are on a cyclical path. 13,000 years on a descending evolving arc into the dark ages, 13,000 years on an ascending evolving arc into an age of enlightenment. It's the 26,000 year 3D game, and some aren't done learning through the lessons that 3D duality has to offer. So they may go around the wheel again. They're just not done learning in 3D, and somebody has to guide them into that. So rather than thinking that those on the earth who seem to be leading people into the darkness or into the shadows, that's the role they've come here to play. While at the same time, there's those of the light who have come here to herald humanity into the higher dimension, into the light of love, right? Because we're done learning through separation and suffering. But their role, the brotherhoods of darkness, are just as important as the brothers and sisters of light, because it is a reality of duality. And so this way we can take the judgment out of it and stop blaming and having resentment toward those who are serving their roles of holding the 3D reality of duality in place, which is the light and the dark, and darkness serves the light. And so I like to take a lot of that place of judgment, and so they can just focus on the light and move out of blame and resentment and anger over what may be unfolding on the earth, and just having faith in the divine plan,
Right?
Everything unfolding in divine timing and divine order, and just blessing everyone for where they're at on their journey.
All is unfolding for the highest good of all concerned. That's the only affirmation I can really use this in these times. It's like, just when I need to get back to center, I remember all is unfolding for the highest good of all concerned, including myself and all my loved ones, and really trusting, because everything else on this planet is so synchronized. I mean, when you open your consciousness, it just happens and unfolds like there's a divine plan. The only thing that happens is when we put our mind in it and we screw it up. We become like we trip up the divine plan. I want to tell everyone, by the way, I was just thinking about how I met you. And I want everyone to know it's really exciting. When I met you at the Conscious Life Expo last year, I remember walking by your booth. And, I worked at the expo introducing speakers, and I walked by your booth several times. I was like, oh my God, she's having this conference, this Ascension conference. I need to be there. Wait a minute. And I just looked at you, and I remember introducing, it's like, well, is Joan of Angels going to be there? How come not? And you were just so on target. It was like, oh, huh. And I just remember saying, well, you'll find a spot. And you did. And I remember thinking, what an energetic uplift to be able to know the big picture. And then I fell in love with you instantly, because you were able to just access whatever you needed to know in that moment.
I fell in love with you instantly too, Joan, and I was blessed to meet you and had been wanting to meet you. And suddenly there you were, and we were hugging and embracing and sharing our light of love. And yes, it was so beautiful. And now you're going to be at my next conference and intricately involved in it. And yes, even just us talking. And when you were just talking, sparks were going off in my head about ways that you could be more intricately involved.
Okay, well, then we'll have a discussion, reach out to me, because I have a new plan of what I've been doing, and you linked it up, and it's kind of interesting. It has to do with my art. And so you kind of linked it up, and that's when I said, I want to copy that sentence you said, that description of channeling the avatars into this human form just is so in alignment with what I'm actually starting to do more of. But so, Suzanne, I'm going to put up the links to your conference. Let's tell everyone it's in mid-March. It's in Sedona, right? It's a 3-day conference. George Norrie's going to be there, right? That's very exciting. Tanjila, Joan of Angels, Portal to Ascension, all of the heavy hitters are coming to your show.
So right? Suzanne, we definitely want to hear all about the conference. So please let everyone know this amazing event that you have put together and that is just growing bigger and bigger and bigger every year.
Thank you, sweet dear. And thank you for your involvement in it too, Tanjila. You're just an angel, both of you. Yes.
Started.
That's what people call us. Angel Joan.
These guests that have said yes. It just keeps blowing my mind. I have been a big fan of William Henry for years and his shows on Gaia TV. 20 years ago, he made a show called Morph, and I just love it. And he was prophesizing these times and was spot on about what would unfold in 2020. And it did. And I just love his personality, and he's so passionate about what he speaks about and teaches about ascension, so well versed and researched, and just a beautiful soul. So he came to our last conference last year, and I was just so ecstatic when he said yes to that. And then Michael Jaco was there last year too. I have such a deep respect for Michael Jaco, the role he served in the CIA, in the military, as a member of SEAL Team 6, and then now his new book, Intuitive Warrior, reflecting on his past lives. And so very delighted to have him back. Paul Selig. Wow, I've been inspired by the Selig material for years. In fact, I had shingles a couple years ago, and I had it on my face and in my eye. My eyes were swollen shut, and all I could do was listen to audiobooks. And I listened to his Mastery Trilogy, and it so inspired me. And when Paul Selig said yes, again, I was just ecstatic. Spirit orchestrating this naturally. Matt Kahn, another.
You're having Matt Kahn is coming. Good.
Yes, Matt Kahn. And I just interviewed him the other day, and he is so authentic, so sincere. God, yes. He just blew me away, and I can't wait to share the interview we had, because he is the true, authentic, divine reflection of an ascended being.
Yes, he is.
Billy Carson. I love Billy Carson.
Billy Carson too. Okay. All right. Who's
he's got great shows on Gaia. And of course, he's traveled to all the sacred sites around the world, talks a lot about the Merkaba technology from the ancient past. And Suzanne Wilson is a world-renowned psychic. Maureen St. Germain, my dear friend, and her best-selling book, Waking Up in 5D, my neighbor in Sedona, Alan Steinfeld, host of New Realities TV for over 20 years, and of course, the Her Talks. I mean, my favorite book of all time is the Book of Knowledge, Keys of Enoch, and I've studied it for years. And when I had the chance to go to their home and speak to JJ Hertalk personally, and he was walking me through some of the teachings in his book, I just felt so incredibly blessed. And so now they're friends of mine. They also have a home in Sedona. I'm so incredibly excited that they're going to be here. Desiree and JJ Hertalk, and then my dear friend Brad Olson. Brad Olson and I are developing a television series called One, Operation New Earth. And so we're in the production of that. Deb Juicy, our dear friend, is going to host an Ascension panel. And then we're going to have George Norrie live. I mean, that was another thing that blew my mind is when Tom Danheiser, George Norrie's producer, reached out to me and wanted to make a George Norrie live show. Part of this event, I've been on Beyond Belief, George Norrie's show on Gaia TV. I've been on Coast to Coast a number of times and just love George Norrie. And I'm so thrilled that he's going to be here. He's going to have the guests. Billy Carson will again be on his show. James Von Prague, known as the American Psychic. And then my good friend John Polk, the UFO guy, and Dr. Sky. Of course, we're offering UFO Skywatch experiences here.
What are the
people
dates?
Have to come.
What are the dates, Suzanne, so everyone can mark their calendars for this incredible experience that you're hosting in Sedona, including UFO tours?
Right.
Yes, UFO Skywatch and spiritual journeys out on the land. We bring shuttle buses in and take people out to the sacred vortex sites. Also, we are offering workshops, and there's many other speakers who are on our Ascension stage. And so it's March 17th through 19th, and you can go to SedonaAscensionRetreats.com. Get your tickets now. Tickets are selling fast. I'm confident we're going to sell out. And so go on and use the code Ascension10 for your 10% discount. And look forward to seeing you in Sedona.
Is that it with the number 10? I just put it in the comments. Ascension 10.
Yeah, Ascension 10.
All right. Well,
yes.
Let's talk about the upcoming. And I want everyone to know something. First of all, it's my birthday weekend. So you definitely, all my friends out there, you need to come so I can finally hug you all in person and get photos and just feel everyone's energy, number one. Number two, I just feel it's just such an exciting conference. And so when Suzanne invited me to it, it's a level up. It's one of the best conferences around. And that's, I'm sure, why Tom and George came out there. I'm excited to see them myself. All right. Well, tell us then. Let's talk about our upcoming conference. What do you think, Tanjila? And what you're going to be talking about in our upcoming Ascension conference.
Yeah. So we're
I'm sorry. I thought you were asking me.
No, she is. I was just saying that as you guys see and are already commenting, Suzanne is hosting this amazing lineup of Ascension speakers at her own conference live in Sedona. And we're just so excited and blessed to be having Suzanne as a part of our online conference coming up at the end of October. And so Suzanne, share more about your work and topic that you'll be bringing forth at the end of this month.
Oh, I just love you, Tanjila. Yes, thank you. So on my website, which I just dialed into the chat room, SuzanneRossTranscendence.com, I offer a Virtuality masterclass, and it's a 6-week course. And every Monday, the participants get a video. Every Wednesday, they get written material. Every Friday, they get an audio, which guides them through meditations, initiations, activations. And so my talk at the Ascension of the Soul conference is based on my Virtuality masterclass. And so it's very experiential, activational. I incorporate practices designed to tune people in to the other holographic fractals of who they're being in higher dimensions, which when you have a soul reunion with an aspect in a higher dimension, then it immediately ignites dormant DNA, advances and evolves you to the next step because you're merging with a more advanced and evolved aspect of yourself. And then I offer practices to tune you into your eternal soul aspect so you can directly stream consciousness and co-create the reality that you're living in now so that you can manifest those outcomes you most desire. And it's all directed at serving at your highest possible level. And so, yes, the upper chakras are a major part of this virtuality program, because tuning into those upper chakras, the Merkaba, light vehicle, the oversoul, the omni brain, these all are very effective in helping you access your eternal soul and channel the divine source.
Wow. Wow. So what a powerful introduction to this entire experience that you've created for others. And I wanted to say, Suzanne, people have been so active in the chat today. They're just one question after another coming in, and Watchers is asking, is past life really a past life, or is it a glimpse from the prime reality? And Morningstar asking, where do souls come from? So are these some of the topics people can delve into with you during your virtuality masterclass or through it?
Definitely. And certainly, in truth, everything is unfolding in one eternal now moment. All of these realities simultaneously happening all at once. So a past life regression, right, is simply peering in to another timeline that in truth is unfolding. But I love to do regressions, and I offer 10 different sessions on my site, and regressions is one of them, because it helps you to reunite your fragmented soul aspects so that you can return to wholeness. And I think a lot of us who are ascending right now are being called to wrap up our 3D incarnations, releasing those karmic attachments from other 3D timelines, so that we can take our whole soul into the ascension with us. And yes, I feel our souls come from our eternal soul, sourced by the divine, projecting aspects of our soul into space-time. So then our souls, sourced by the infinite, come from the eternal realm.
So it is. All right. I love that. I love that.
That's my story, and I'm sticking to
it. You're going to be teaching or giving a preview glimpse of this at the end of the month at our online Ascension conference. Is that right?
Absolutely. Yes. And
good.
To get
I'm
a feel for
I'm going to see if I can share the screen. For some reason, it's not letting me share the screen. Oh, they changed the name of it. They say present screen, as if, Okay, let's show the conference for a second, just so everyone can see what we're talking about with our Ascension of the Soul conference. This is the 2-day online conference that's being presented by SoulSearch and Portal to Ascension. You want to talk about this for a second while we have it up, Tanjila?
Sure. So this is our 2-day online conference now happening on October 29th and 30th, where we have 25 different ascension experts who will be presenting about all of these different aspects of ascension. And that's what we've really been diving into through this entire interview series, getting to know each of our speakers, their journey, where they came from. I mean, just to really learn about Suzanne's incredible awakening process and how she has become the profound teacher she is today has been incredible, and gets us all excited to experience this virtuality download we'll really be getting from you. And we'll be doing that with so many other speakers. They'll be talking about, ascension and the Akashic records, ascension from the astrological perspective, the dark night of the soul, which Suzanne also mentioned her own personal dark night of the soul today. So really, really incredibly diverse group of speakers, all bringing their own wisdom, knowledge, and experience about the different aspects of ascension, all coming together for 2 days, giving their amazing downloads, which is then going to be available for replay. So that if you experience Suzanne's virtuality seminar and you're like, wow, that was incredible, you can always revisit and then check in with her again through her website and her masterclass, and of course, live in Sedona in March. So this is just a great way to really get to know these amazing ascension experts and start diving even more and more deeply into what is ascension and what is awakening, and what does it mean for us as individuals and for humanity.
Okay, well, I want to say something. I'm excited. And what you triggered for me, what Suzanne triggered for me, was really getting clear that ascension is actually connecting with that higher self part of us and learning to live in it 24/7. I mean, that's a vast breakdown. It was only for me to have a way to cope and understand that. All right. Well, because it's true. It's like this is like living in your own sci-fi movie, and you are not only watching it, you're a main character because you too are a sci-fi being in a certain way. All right, that's my bottom line for this morning. I'm sorry.
Thank you, dear. No, thank you for mentioning sci-spy.tv because it is. Yeah, right. Thank you. I'm just getting a link here so that people can.
Okay, we'll do that.
Tune in
And then if there's anything you want to leave us with, feel free to email me. Okay, I'm going to just cut and paste all of these links and see if I can put them all at one time into the comment section here. Any last minute things you want to share with us, Suzanne?
Yes, thank you for that. I just want to send my love to everyone, both of you and everyone who's tuned in. I have so much love for my brothers and sisters on this planet and so much love for all that is. And I am just here to share my radiant light of love with you all. I want to thank you for tuning in, and I am just here to serve the ascension and have invited everyone to come to Sedona to experience this powerful vortex. Love you all. Many blessings. Namaste.
We're going to have you on the channel more between now and then. I just can't wait to interview you again, Suzanne. We're going to have a good time.
Aww.
All right.
Thank
you so much
you.
For that day that you went to Sedona, like you fell on the mountaintop and asked Spirit to take care of you and released everything. Like that moment that you had is so profoundly impacting all of us now, years in the future. That timeline you shifted onto, that's how intricately we're all bound together. Your saying yes to the universe is leading to us and your event. So I see that timeline. So thank you.
Aw, thank you.
We'll see you all soon. All right, guys.
Thanks so much, Suzanne. That was amazing. Isn't she incredible? I just love her.
I'm blown away by the fact that she's the first person that's actually put ascension in a concept I can grasp. Okay, in a concept that's so relatable to me, like our oversoul and stepping into that more, and then navigating down here. Imagine using those skills to navigate our 3D reality.
I just love the way she talks about all of this and, virtuality, the soul behind the simulation, because that is, we are all in a holograph and this is a simulation. And it's just so profound. Suzanne's work is so profound. I really love her. And you can see people were so excited in the chat today. Everyone had a lot of comments and really intrigued by what she's expressing and the way she's expressing it. So I'm just super excited to, continue learning more from Suzanne and excited to have her be a part of our conference. And then also.
Right. All right. So I love that. I just love that we're going to do that. Tanjila, tell everyone a little bit about SoulSearch.
Sure.
And what it means to us.
Yes, thank you so much. And for all of you who are joining us today, many of you have been joining us throughout our interview series. SoulSearch.io is a platform online for spirituality and consciousness. We are really committed to bringing spiritual healers, teachers, guides like Suzanne, like Joan of Angels out into the world more broadly, because that is where we are. We are in the time of ascension. We are in the time of awakening. And we want people wherever they are to know that they're not alone as they're going through this process of questioning who they are, where they are, what they're doing. We're all going through this process together. And what is so amazing is that we actually have all of these incredible teachers and modalities available to support us. through this process, which, just out there in the 3D world and society, we're told we have such a limited options of who we are to be, what kind of support we can get. But then, there's a whole world out there, a whole universe out there that we can really dive into. And SoulSearch is really about opening that universe up for others. So, you can find teachers to work with and support you, courses to take, like the Virtuality Masterclass, retreats, conferences, experiences to be a part of together in community, both online and in person, like our Ascension Retreat, like Suzanne's Ascension Retreat in Sedona. So there's really so much out there. And with SoulSearch, we're bringing all of this online in one place so that the whole community can be coming together to share, to grow, to experience, and to transform. So thank you guys.
And I just want to mention, of course, I'm a member of SoulSearch too, and I'll be at that Ascension of the Soul conference as well, besides Suzanne's conference. I also want to mention our sponsor, Portal to Ascension, which is an online program where you receive hundreds of hours of free presentations and infos with upcoming events on consciousness, extraterrestrials, exploring space, advanced technology. So it's an exciting platform. So go check out Portal to Ascension. And meanwhile, I am your host, Joan of Angels, and I am an intuitive guide, transformational coach, and a visionary artist who actually is now working on special programs, taking your avatar, gorgeous, higher consciousness self, and actually putting them into a piece of artwork for you, channeling it into it so you never forget. It's like you can go out into the supermarket and carry your painting with you. You'll never forget what you actually look like up in those other conscious realms. So check out joanofangels.com as well. And we all wish you a fantastic day. We're so happy you're here with us. We just love you. Please like, subscribe, and share if you're on New Realities or Portal to Ascension or SoulSearch or Joan of Angels, our YouTube channels. Please share it out to the world. We are a movement helping people remember why they're here on this planet.
And we are a family, and we are just so happy and excited to have you guys be a part of our family because we're all walking this walk together. So really always love being with all of you, feeling the energy. And for those of you tuning in the replay, thank you for joining in. And we love and feel your energy as well. And just wishing everyone a beautiful day. So beautiful to be here with you guys this morning. Thank you. And thank you, Joan, because you are always the most amazing hostess with the mostest.
I was just thinking about that, Tanjila. I was not going to let you off without telling you how much fun I have connecting with you. And it's just very exciting. And I'm learning a lot from you, my love. So thank you for being in my life. Thank you for hearing the call for SoulSearch. Like Suzanne heard a call, to step in. And guys, each and every one of you, there's a call that you are hearing. And we say yes to it and follow those teachers and guides that just help lead the way to your own ascension so that you can then help lead the way to everyone else behind us. So we love you all. We'll see you next time.
Love you guys. Bye.
Love you.